Hey mums, welcome back to my channel. So last week we explored the challenges that our girls face in a world that's constantly bombarding them with unrealistic beauty standards. You know the ones, the pressure on that body image, self-esteem can leave them feeling inadequate. And as mums, it can be heartbreaking to watch. But we're not powerless. I'm here to say we're not. By understanding the influence and the unique aspects of our teenage girls' brains, we can support our daughters in building confidence and self-worth. I mean, what's more to ask for, eh? So if you haven't watched it yet, mark it as the next video to watch after this one. So let's get started. What we're talking about today. So let's tackle something that's really close to home for many of us, peer pressure. Friendships and FOMO, also known as fear of missing out. So ever wonder why your teen daughter feels so glued to certain friends, even though you know and she knows deep down that they're not always kind to her? Or why she's constantly checking her phone, afraid she might be missing out on something? Trust me, this is all connected. And in this video, we'll dive into what's behind it all. So let's start by breaking down why peer pressure hits our girls so much harder than we might realise. When you're raising your teenage daughter, you probably notice how friendships can feel all-consuming. One day she's best friends with someone, and then the next day she's upset because she's been left out or isn't fitting in with everyone. The emotional roller coaster isn't just a teen thing, it's actually a product of how her brain is developing, which is a little known fact. So during the teenage years, the brain is wired to prioritise social connection, especially in the teenage girl's brain. The part of her brain responsible for logical thinking, as we as adults think, that's the prefrontal cortex, and again, it's still developing. Whilst her emotional centre, the limbic system, is working overtime, as we talked about last week. That's why her friendships can feel so intense and why she craves that sense of belonging. It's not just that she wants to fit in because that's the way, it's that she feels like she has to. She's biologically driven to seek connection and validation from her peers. And that's why peer pressure can be so overwhelming. So now let's talk about FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's not just a buzzword, it's a real thing, especially for our teen girls. You've probably seen it play out in your own home. Maybe your daughter is constantly checking her phone, seeing what her friends are doing and feeling anxious when she's not part of it. FOMO makes they feel like if they miss one event, one hangout or one social gathering, they're going to lose their place in the group. And that's massive for our teen girls because they feel it at their very core. This fear feeds right into that peer pressure. It's not always about being pressured to do something bad. Okay, sometimes it is. But most of the time it's the pressure to stay included, to not miss out on something that everyone else is doing. That fear of being left out drives a lot of the decisions our teen girls make. And when I say teen girls, I'm meaning anyone from 9 to 25, even if it's not always what they want to be doing. In their minds, being part of a group and something bigger is crucial to maintaining that social standing and that sense of belonging. And yes, I know it sounds twisted. For us as adults, it's so easy because we have that part of the brain online. We have that prefrontal cortex. We understand logic. We understand something happens and there's a consequence. Our teen girls don't. This is why it is so important to talk about these connections. So why do our girls stay friends with people who may not treat them so well? Even when their friend is rude, dismissive, or even mean, they might still hold on to that relationship. And again, it comes down to that need for connection. Their brain's wiring is telling them, if I lose this friend, I may lose my place. It's a fear of isolation. Even if they're not getting the validation they desperately crave from this person, the fear of losing any connection is sometimes way more powerful than the discomfort they feel within the relationship. FOMO plays a role here too. They're afraid that if they cut those ties, they'll be completely left out. It's why they might go along with things that they don't agree with, just to stay in the loop. Understand it now. It's a lot easier when somebody explains it to you rather than just going, oh, it's just how it is. Just get on with it. Now, so here's where the brain plays another big role. Because the prefrontal cortex, that logical thinking part of the brain, is still developing, teens struggle to see the bigger picture. When they're in the middle of a friendship conflict or feeling pressure to conform, they can't always process that there's life beyond this group of friends. It's why the here and now feels so intense. Add in the emotional chaos of all those hormones rushing around your daughter's brain, and you've got the perfect storm. FOMO isn't just about missing a party, it's about missing connection, that hardwired connection that they desperately crave. To them, staying in the know equals staying relevant. And if they're not relevant, they fear they'll be invisible. That's a powerful motivator for hanging on to friendships, even when those friendships are harmful. So what can we do to support our girls when they're caught in this whirlwind of peer pressure and FOMO? So first, let's recognise this isn't just about teenage drama, as we're told time and time again. This is real, it's emotional, and it's really, really hard. So start by having open conversations with your teenage daughter. Ask her how these friendships make her feel and what she's afraid of losing. When we help them voice these fears, we give them the space to reflect on what's truly happening for them. Then we work on building their confidence outside of this peer group. If they have a strong sense of self-worth and know that they're valuable just as they are and they don't need to change, the pressure to fit in becomes less intense. Encourage activities that make her feel good about herself and help her see that friendships shouldn't cost them the sense of self. And remind them it's okay to take those breaks from social media. Constantly being plugged in fuels FOMO. Encourage some screen-free time where they can focus on what really matters, like family, like hobbies, activities together, or even some quiet time for themselves. So there you have it. Peer pressure and FOMO are a huge part of your daughter's world, and understanding the brain's role in this can make all the difference. Our girls are wired for connection, but it doesn't mean they have to give in to every pressure or toxic friendship to find it. As parents, we can help them work through this with compassion, support, and a hell of a lot of patience. If you found this video helpful, please hit subscribe and drop a comment below. Let's keep the conversation going about how we can empower our girls to make healthy choices in their friendships. So key points of this video has been teen girls' brains are wired for connection, making them more vulnerable to peer pressure. Number 2, FOMO, fear of missing out, drives their need to stay included, even in those toxic relationships. Number 3, the emotional centre is heightened and their ability to think long term is still developing. It's non-existent, making the present moment feel all-consuming. And number 4, parents can support their daughters by having open conversations, building confidence, and encouraging that time away from social media. So there you go. And if you'd like to stay connected with me, DM me. Instagram is the best place to find me, so it's the Teen Whisperer. There's also my mum's survival kit, which is the toolkit to unlocking and understanding what's going on for your teenage girl without even asking her the question. And then there's number 2 is my Glow support groups, which are online or in person. And then, of course, we've got the Mum to Mum Connection, which is an online space just for you as a mum to talk openly and honestly about what's going on for you and your daughter without fear of judgment, without fear of being ridiculed, without fear of anything. It's a space where you can meet with other mums together and connect. And there'll also be opportunities to meet in person. So yeah, what more can you ask for? So let's stay in contact. You take care and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.